It's your boy Ryan Lifto, coming to you right now live straight from Instagram TV. Check this out. Today, I wanted to show you guys a snippet of my book collection. I want you guys to get to know me a little bit better, and I think the best way to get to know somebody is to get to know the books that they're reading, some of the things that they're into, and things of that nature. So, check me out. Alright, so book number 1, Humans of New York. I've been following the Humans of New York movement pretty much since its inception. And you know, Brandon Stanton, the photographer for that, is a great photographer. And for those of you who don't know about Humans of New York, there's a photographer by the name of Brandon Stanton. And what he does is he goes around New York and he takes these portraits of people and he tells kind of a story to go along with the portrait. And so you get to really feel the emotion and you get to really feel the intention behind the portrait versus just seeing a regular picture. So and he does this every day. He's literally taking thousands, if not millions, of pictures of people in New York and told their life stories, and it's a very interesting thing. I think right now he has a web series on Facebook that's really interesting. This book is very interesting, and if you're into photography, the art of photography and the art of storytelling with photography, definitely follow Humans of New York. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big follower of Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois. Du Bois was the first African American to receive a doctorate from Harvard University, and this was like in the 1800s. So he was like one of the first public intellectuals. He was also the father of sociology, not just African American sociology, but he is known as the father of American sociology. This kind of breakdown of how the world works and how sociology works and how psychology works was very profound. He wrote this book in the early 1900s entitled The Souls of Black Folk. And you know, for anybody that went to a HBCU, any black person that went to college in my era, I'm 35 now, so anybody who went to college in my era, like you had to read, you had to watch School Days, and you had to read Souls of Black Folk before you went to college, so you can really understand the philosophies of Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, who really laid down the struggle for black people in America. Without Du Bois, there would be no Malcolm X, there would be no Martin Luther King. He was just a very, 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 very intelligent man. And you know, Du Bois, check him out. So going along with the same Du Bois storyline, I have this book entitled A Small Nation of People by W.E.B. Du Bois. It's a portrait book, it's a photography book. And what this book does is it chronicles the lives of affluent African Americans in the early 1900s. And Du Bois hired a photographer to go around the country to take these pictures of black people to show the world how black people were living in the early 1900s. This is when slaves were still alive. This was like one generation after slavery, and there were tons and thousands of very successful black people. And this is one thing that's a resounding motif in Du Bois' work. He was more about the bourgeoisie. In the beginning of his life, he catered more to the bourgeoisie, the aristocratic black people, the college-educated black people. And that's why his theories and some of his ways of thoughts are popular among college graduates and people who went to college, because his storyline or his philosophies came out of this very education background, very aristocratic. He had this theory called the talented 10th. And what that means is the top 10% of what he perceived of our race would be the people who would take us to the next level. So that's what Du Bois' beliefs were in the beginning of his life, but toward the end of his life, he kind of like graduated more toward a humanist type approach. He was a Pan-African. I think he moved to Ghana, if I'm not mistaken, and he died in Ghana. So Du Bois is also a representation to me about, you know, it's okay to change. You know, he started his life with one group of philosophies, and he ended his life on another level. So, Du Bois, that's my guy. Alright. Fourth book. This is my Supreme book. I gotta fix it a little bit here. It's playing a little bit, but yeah. This is Supreme. This is a book about the the fashion brand Supreme. It's a streetwear brand, skatewear brand, very iconic American brand that, you know, a lot of people my age might not know about, but a lot of the younger people, they're really familiar with Supreme and how iconic this brand is. And what this book is just a book of photography that they've used over the years as like something like advertising campaigns and marketing campaigns. And so this book, as a photographer, for me, is important because it shows, you know, for me, it's mostly the photography. I like how they did it, like a street photography type look, and it's very, 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 very cool. If you don't know, Supreme is a store. It only has 3 stores across the globe, if I'm not mistaken. One in New York, LA, and then Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. So you can only buy Supreme in 3 cities in the world. So what makes them important is they created this kind of culture around resale, and what we see around resale and Jordans and things like that started with Supreme, because you can only buy it. It's a so sought after brand, but you can only buy it in 3 cities. So the people all across the world want it. So very, very interesting company. Their photography is great, and yeah, Supreme. This is my prize book right here. This is my favorite book of all time. Everybody knows Shawty. I'm from Atlanta. Shawty, born and bred here, you know what I mean? And that real Atlanta cat, you feel me? But this book right here is Atlanta 1996. And it chronicles the year the Olympics was here. For anybody that was born here and raised in Atlanta, you know how important it was when we got the Olympics here in Atlanta. The Olympics really transformed the city. It turned Atlanta into an international city. For the International Olympic Committee to choose Atlanta, which at the time, it still is now, a majority black city, with black mayors and black politicians and things of that nature, for them to choose this city to host the Olympics was super great. And this is Southwest DeKalb. I was in 8th grade when this happened. I was actually supposed to be in this band, but I wasn't able to do it because they said we were too young, or I think only upperclassmen or something got to march in it. So, but this is actually Southwest DeKalb's band performing at the opening ceremony for the Olympics. So, yeah, this book is very dope. It's very dope. It chronicles Atlanta during a very transformational year. And 1996 was also the year that the Braves won the World Series. So we had a lot of shine and a lot of light on Atlanta in 1996. And yeah, this book right here, prized possession. The Art of Seduction. All right. A lot of my female visitors that come over here, they question me about this book and say, okay, why are you reading this book? Why are you trying to seduce me? No. Robert Greene is also the author of 48 Laws of Power, and his books always do a good job at explaining the psychology of why humans do the things that they do. And he also gets into how you can control the things that, you know, people do. And The Art of Seduction is one of the books in the line of books that he's written, and it breaks down how people seduce. It breaks down how people control and manipulate. Now, I didn't buy this book and read it so I could learn how to manipulate somebody. I really wanted to understand myself, and I just really wanted to understand other people a little bit better. So everybody else uses seduction. Everybody, you know, everybody uses seduction. And this book really chronicles and breaks down how people do it, what they do, and things of that nature. So, The Art of Seduction. If you don't have this book, go get it. Alright, so when I turned 30, I had a very special friend. I'm not going to say her name. I ain't going to embarrass her. But I had a very special friend in my life at that point. And she actually made a book of my photography. And, you know, I thought that was very cool. And, you know, this is some of my early work now. It's been like 5 years now. But some of my work at that point. And it's always good to come back and look at this book to show, you know, where I came from. And, you know, how far I had to go with the art of photography. So yeah, that's this book. It's very cool. I'm gonna keep this book forever. This is important. This is a poetry book about Malcolm X. Anybody that knows me also knows I'm a huge Malcolm X fan or follower. Malcolm X during a time where black people were taught to be meek and humble and to not speak truth to power. Malcolm X was one of the only people that stood up and just told it like it was and told it what was gonna be. And he also helped to instill a sense of racial pride in being black. I think before him in the Nation of Islam movement, there was sort of this idea of blackness was kind of like shunned upon, or we define blackness through the scope of the larger culture. But Malcolm X did a good job of letting us be proud of who we are. He was very articulate. He started off his life as a pimp. He was a street hustler, and went to jail and changed his life in jail. And so, for me, Malcolm X is very important for our community, for a lot of men in our community to really understand Malcolm X, his life. It really chronicles the evolution and the maturity of a black man. Like if you really understand Malcolm X's story, it's about the evolution and maturity of a black man. He once used his gift of gab to be a pimp, but then he changed and used his gift of gab to empower his people. So he did it in a major way. So yeah. 6 disciplines for excellence. Now, one of my favorite books of all time is From Good to Great. Somebody borrowed my book and never gave it back, but it's all good. But the 6 disciplines for excellence is along that same line of From Good to Great. It's a book that teaches you how to build a small business, how to learn, how to lead, how to be able to catch waves, and understand how to sustain success when you achieve success. Not everybody even gets to achieve success. Success is something that not many people can say they have, especially in the arts world. So this book just teaches you, how to maintain a level of excellence in anything that you do, whether it's business, whatever, anything that you do. This is a Black Panther comic book. I don't think I have to really explain this too much. Black Panther was really iconic this year. Crushed the box office. And so this is my Black Panther comic book. I like to keep this around primarily for aesthetic, to remind me of, how great this movement was this year. Also, anybody that knows me knows that I'm really big on culture and African culture, because I think that African culture has been misrepresented. I feel like it's been told through the lens of other people, and it's time for us to use our history and our knowledge of history to empower what we got going on now. So I'm a very big proponent of culture, especially African culture. And one of my favorite pharaohs in ancient Egypt was Pharaoh Akhenaten. And Akhenaten was King Tut's dad. And Akhenaten was also the father of monotheism. Monotheism didn't exist on the globe until Pharaoh Akhenaten, which was a black pharaoh in Black Egypt all those years ago. And so, and a lot of people like to question, why do African Americans like to hold on to African culture like it's theirs, they're American, and things of that nature? Because, like I said before, for so long we've been told that Africans and people of African descent have never added to the landscape of humanity. And what we know is that from history, from archaeological history, that's just not true. Africans were the first people to create culture, advanced civilizations, religion, medicine, arts, all of that started in Africa. And not just with the Egyptians, there were many great African cultures in history. So as African Americans, we have something to be proud about. Just like, Europeans can talk about Pythagoras and talk about Julius Caesar and talk about Alexander the Great. We also have many people who are also, powerful, intelligent, and had great kingdoms. So, yeah, that's that. Alright. The 5 love languages. I mean, You know what I'm saying? I get on my sap shit sometimes, and the older I get, the more in touch I get with how I love and who I love. So this book is a great book to show what your love language is, whether it's time, touch, so you can really understand yourself, and you can understand the person that you love. And once you understand that somebody's love language is time, you understand that you have to set aside a certain amount of time to give to the person you love. So the love language book is very important in just relating better to the person that you love. This is my Essence book. I bought this book primarily because I'm a photographer, and it has some great pictures of black women in this book, powerful pictures that are not sexual. I think now there's so many sexualized images of black women that that's kind of lame. And I think this shows more of an art, cultural representation of black women who are, in my opinion, the most beautiful women on the planet. So yeah, that's that. All right, this is my Hype Beast book. This is my Hype Beast book. This is, if you don't know, Hype Beast it started off as a website. It started off as as a website, but they also evolved into making magazines. And Hype Beast really, I'm 35, and I'm getting a little older, and I'm not as hip to things as I used to be. And really subscribing to Hype Beast keeps me current on the things and the styles and the aesthetic that's kind of like important today. A lot of my recent work has definitely been influenced by some of the stuff I've seen in Hype Beast. The publication is great, and yeah, Hype Beast. I need another one. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, like super huge Jay-Z fan. I didn't grow up listening to Jay-Z, but when I went to college, a lot of the cats from Chicago and New York, Detroit, Milwaukee, all of those cats were bumping Jay-Z. And at that time when I was in college, I really got into Hov and really started to listen to his lyrics. And if you listen to his lyrics, Hov has always been about economic power in the black community, and how to have economic power and things of that nature. So I've always been a fan of Hov. If you don't know, his first label was called Rockefeller, which was named after John D. Rockefeller, which was one of the wealthiest Americans to ever live. So Hov, following that lineage and channeling up the spirit of Rockefeller, and now he's one of the most richest Americans to ever live. And I think that's very inspiring for black men. It shows the test how strong black men are. It shows our hustle, ambition, that he was able to make it from a hustler to now he's like a billionaire. And not only that, his relationship with his wife, I think, is the model relationship that I kind of want. I want to marry my equal, and I think Jay-Z did a good job of choosing a woman that's not beneath him, not above him, but his equal. And they work together, and they make money together, and they create art together. And I see that as something that's very, very cool, and how I want my marriage to be if I ever get married. It might take me till I'm 40, but I promise I'm gonna get it one day. So Jay-Z whole life and his wife and the things that he do and his kids and his economic power and his entrepreneurial spirit, and his wife's entrepreneurial spirit, and her hustle and talent. I mean, this is, who's not inspired by this? Who doesn't want to be this? So that's that. So that's my book collection. Well, some of my books, and I hope that you learn a little bit more about me and what I'm into. And check me out, LiftUpVisuals.com.